Welcome to Sparking Channel. This is Jaideep Chatterjee, wishing all a happy and prosperous new year. Today, I'll narrate you about untold facts of two bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, are often been referred to by their nicknames Little Boy and Fat Man. On 6th August 1945, the United States changed the face of warfare when it dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima, Japan. 3 days later, US forces detonated a second atomic bomb over Nagasaki, Japan, forcing an end of the Second World War. Hiroshima was chosen as the primary target since it had remained largely untouched by bombing raids and the bomb's effects could be clearly measured. While President Truman had hoped for purely military target, some advisors believed that bombing in an urban area might break the fighting will of Japanese people. Hiroshima was a major port and military headquarters, and therefore a strategic target. Also, visual bombing rather than radar would be used so that photographs of the damage could be taken, since Hiroshima had never been seriously harmed by bombing raids by any forces. Little Boy and Fat Man were the code names for the two atomic bombs dropped in Japan during Second World War, with Little Boy being dropped on Hiroshima on 6th August 1945 and the Fat Man on Nagasaki on 9th August 1945. Little Boy was a uranium gun-based weapon while Fat Man was a plutonium implosion type weapon, making them distinct in design and function. Little Boy weighed around 9,000 pounds and was roughly 10 feet long, whereas Fat Man was heavier at 10,800 pounds and nearly 11 feet long. Both bombs were part of Manhattan Project and their names are believed to have been inspired by the movie The Maltese Falcon. Fat Man was the second plutonium implosion type bomb. The first was the Gadget, detonated at the Trinity site on 16 July 1945. In the implosion type device, a core subcritical plutonium is surrounded by several thousand pounds on high explosive design in such a way that the explosive force of the HE, that is highly explosive, is directed inwards, thereby crushing the plutonium core into a supercritical state. We should remember that it was the first nuclear weapon used in a war. Now come to the configuration of both the bombs. Fat Man was the second plutonium implosion type bomb. The first was the Gadget, detonated at the Trinity site on 16 July 1945. In the implosion type device, a core of subcritical plutonium is surrounded by several thousand pounds of high explosive design in such a way that the explosive force of HE is directed inwards, thereby crushing the plutonium core into a supercritical stage. Dropped on Japan city of Nagasaki on 9th August 1945. It was the second nuclear weapon used in a war. Weight 10,800 lbs, that is pound. Length 10 feet 8 inch. Diameter 60 inch. Fuel plutonium-239. Plutonium fuel approx 13.6 lbs, approx size of softball. Plutonium core surrounded by 5,300 lbs of high explosive plutonium core reduced to size of tennis ball. Bomb initiator beryllium polonium. All components of the Fat Man ferried to Tinian Island aboard B-29s of the 509 composite group. Efficiency of weapon 10 times that of Little Boy. Approximately 1 kilogram of plutonium fissioned. Explosive force 21,000 tons of TNT equivalent. Dropped on Japanese city of Nagasaki on 9th August 1945. Nuclear weaponer Commander Frederick Ashworth. Delivered by another fighter plane B-29 Boxcar and piloted by Major Charles Sweeney. Now Little Boy. Little Boy weight 9,700 lbs. Length 10 feet. Diameter 28 inch. Fuel highly enriched uranium or alloy. Uranium fuel approx 140 lbs, target 85 lbs and projectile 55 lbs. Uranium fuel approx 140 lbs, target 85 lbs and projectile 55 lbs. Target case barrel uranium, projectile and other main parts ferried to Tinian Island via US Indianapolis. Uranium target component ferried to Tinian via C-54 aircraft of the 5 group. Efficiency of weapon very poor. Approx 1.38% of uranium fuel actually fissioned. Explosive force 15,000 tons of TNT equivalent used dropped on Japan's city Hiroshima on 16 August 1945. Delivered by fighter plane B-29 Enola Gay, piloted by Colonel Paul Tibbets. We must keep the facts of differences between that two. These weapons were, however, as different as their monikers imply. Little Boy was a uranium gun-type weapon, whereas Fat Man was a plutonium-based exploder. Little Boy, a gun-type weapon that detonated by firing a flash of uranium into another. Fat Man, an implosion-type weapon that detonated by surrounding plutonium with explosives. Technical problem faced by scientists and their rectifications. Before that, I am coming to Gadget. The Gadget, world's first ever atomic device detonation, occurred in New Mexico desert during the Trinity test. It verified that an implosion type of plutonium bomb, that is Fat Man, would be successful when released above Japan just weeks later. The explosive power from Gadget's detonation was equivalent to around 21,000 tons of TNT. Its mushrooms cloud grew to about 3,280 feet wide with a column of smoke in excess of 40,000 feet high. Technical problem faced by scientists and rectification was how to fashion the limited quantities of two very different fissile materials, that is uranium-235 and plutonium-239, into combat weapons. Proper bomb design based broadly depends on sufficient fissile materials to sustain a nuclear reactions, assembly technology such as gun type or implosions, and the necessity specifications such as dimension, reliability and efficiency. Early on, the gun type design was thought to be feasible for both uranium-235 and plutonium-239. As such, research for the lower priority implosion design was viewed as a program to fall back and should unexpected problems arise in developing the gun type design. However, priorities were soon to be shifted to the simplest bomb design as the gun type assembly device, in which an explosive propellant is used to fire one subcritical piece of fissile material down a gun barrel into another piece of fissile material, which could be tested without an explosive test and was guaranteed to work. How was it happened? 7th May 1945, Germany agrees to unconditional surrender, ending the war in Europe. 16 July 1945, the United States successfully detonates the world's first atomic bomb at the Trinity test site in the desert of New Mexico. 6 August 1945, the first atomic bomb to be used as a weapon is dropped on Hiroshima, Japan at approximately 8:15 am, nicknamed Little Boy. The bomb is released from Enola Gay, a B-29 bomber piloted by Brigadier General Paul Tibbets. It exploded 2,000 feet above ground, killing 80,000 people instantly. One of the main arguments for the use of bomb by US officials is that it would force Japan to surrender unconditionally. 9th August 1945, an atomic bomb is dropped over Nagasaki, Japan by a B-29 bomber piloted by Major Charles Sweeney. It exploded 1,550 feet above the ground. The original target for the bomb, nicknamed Fat Man, is Kakura, Japan. Due to cloud cover, the bomb is instead detonated over Nagasaki, the alternative location. It is estimated that 75,000 people are killed immediately. Impact of the bombings. 9th August 1945, 3 days after the Hiroshima bombings, President Truman speaks to the nation in a radio address. The world will note that the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, a military base. By this time, the United States already dropped its second bomb on Nagasaki. 1,40,000 people in Hiroshima killed instantly or within months. 2,37,62 number of innocents had lost their lives due to after effects, including radiation poisoning and cancer. 80,000 number of people estimated to have died in Nagasaki itself. The bombings killed tens of thousands of people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and many more continue to die from radiation, sickness, burns, and other injuries for months after. The bombings raised ethical and legal questions about whether they were necessary to end the war. Thank you for listening. Next time, don't forget to visit Sparking channel. Thank you.